through that again because that was really good. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. Now, Ian and Bruce just said something really good, and now I know they won't because such is the way of things.
Quiet, Ian.
Yes, nothing. Hello, Johnny, and hello, Recovery Drone. So, what were you just saying? Flyby? Oh no, that's you.
If you want, you can open up the tweet because it's there in the private chat. But there's a US counter drone company, and actually, credit to them. You don't normally see this, so this is a fall off seat moment. They have been actively they're a US company, and they've been telling senators, journalists, that kind of thing, saying these are not drones that are there. But furthermore, he's now having to challenge a UK journalist that's spinning a story of a National Police Service helicopter being chased by a drone that was being controlled on frequencies that nobody can scan, which is a load of nonsense. And they've
I don't know.
What alien technology? Alien? Do you know that there are roadblocks now? There's roadblocks around Area 51. There's been massive troop movements towards Area 51, and clouds of drones have been seen in the sky over the installation. I think something's happening.
Yeah. Or not. And do you know what? I don't think they're telling us. That's what I think.
Not telling us. It's a conspiracy. They're hiding the secrets from us. What are they hiding?
What are they hiding? Exactly.
I'm sure the media will get to the bottom of it.
It's called a plane, and what it does is, right, funny enough, what you do is, right, before it takes off, it puts people get into it normally, or cargo gets into it. Then they seal it all up.
Cargo gets into it? How does the cargo get into it? How does that work? Yeah.
Well, it's person handled into cargo into it. And then, this thing takes off from a runway. Then it'll fly from England, for example, which would then be the American East Coast. And it will come into an airport. And it will be seen by people.
Stop gaslighting us. This is what they want us to think. It's aliens.
It is definitely aliens. Definitely aliens. I mean, it has been utter nonsense. And I'm not sure where are we at with it. Is it dying down or is it accelerating away?
No, it's still
now?
Trump says that the government knows what's going on, and it's not airplanes. He knows. Trump would know because he's the president-elect.
There was a statement put out saying it's not drones and stop shining your lasers at the blinking manned aviation police because it's gone nuts over there.
The annoying statement was the FBI Newark last night. They were saying, don't shine your lasers at the drone. Don't shoot at the drone because the drone might be a manned aircraft. I'm like, whoa, that's good and well. But you're implying there that if you knew it was a drone for fact, you could just take a pop at it, which obviously it's unlike here, over there, it is a
federal offence.
You can go to prison for.
But what about that Kevin Morris? He's basically saying, "Oh, don't worry, because drones can fly at night quite legally." But as if to say, "Well, these are drones; they're legally flying." No, the FAA, wake up.
Unidentified, yes, Cliff, unidentified flying cushion. Well, you can see that I'm listening carefully for any laser messages on the ACARS system, which I put a silly little video about it today, but it's ridiculously easy to decode this stuff now. I couldn't believe how easy it is. We don't need to watch this. Then maybe there'll be one, maybe there won't. But to me, it really does speak to. It's 2020. It was nearly 2025, kids. We've got to get hold of. We're going to have electronic conspicuity. It's got to be something that works for all. It's got to be cheap enough, etc., etc. All those good things, and it's got to keep crewed aviation in the loop, RPAS in the loop. But the speak of network remote ID that's being pushed through on this is just it's bonkers, and network remote ID won't help anybody. And I know, I'm sorry to review it, you have heard us banging on about this for years. Remote ID was the Trojan horse for network remote ID. Look, I don't mind, none of us mind the thing that makes the sky safer. None of us is against that. But there are consulting companies just waiting to take your cash.
You would think You would think that the FAA or the Department of Transport, whatever, would have already brought in a system that required all drones to have some kind of beacon that would broadcast their position and the location of the operator, and that would immediately enable us to tell if these were drones or something else. You think if the system existed, that they would be publicizing it and saying to people, if you see something in the sky, get your phone out, then you'll be able to tell if it's a drone or not. And if it's a drone, report it. If it's not, don't. I mean, surely, what was the point of remote ID in the first? Why do we have this burdenous tax on law-abiding drone operators when we know bad operators won't use it? And when it comes a time that would be really useful to suppress all this hysteria, they ignore it. That's why I wonder what is going on. Aliens.
Yes.
What it is overpaid consultants who have found a way to sell their snake oil, their magic smoke, on remote ID, or they want to sell network ID. They are trying to sell a snake oil, magic smoke to national aviation authorities. They are full of BS for the most part. And I'm being nice because I would say a lot worse than this. But, electronic conspic, and we've said it for years, all of us here, I don't mind electronic conspic. Bring it out for everything, but not network. Network is a way of selling smoke oil and magic oil. It's just ridiculous. It's a bad idea. It doesn't work in half the countries. You've got rural countrysides. It's just BS 101.
And none of this is anything to do with the fact that they've got to, by the 20th of this month, they've got to sign in this counter UAS Security Safety and Reauthorization Act. And if they don't, it goes by the wayside. I hope I'm wrong, but I probably am wrong. I generally am wrong. But it strikes me that this may be a little bit of a tickle by the counter UAS industry to get a little bit of hype in the press, and it's got a little bit out of hand. Because that's what I think it might have happened. I don't know.
It is crazy, but at the minute, if you see a consultant on TV or you see a consultant on the net and they're going, it's not. If they're saying it's drones or it's not detectable drones, this and the other, right? I guarantee you, don't listen to that consultant, right? I don't know anything about drones.
It's not that simple to say don't listen to that consultant. It's okay from our perspective, but there's others out there that are very clueless and unfortunately think that they can find solutions to this. And as Gary has said, that it's up until the 20th, so there's a bit of a mad rush on at the moment. And they'll take anything that goes, and if they spend the money, they can justify that, yes, we are doing something here. And it then shows, the public that money is being spent to make sure, but it will be money wasted, and we all know that. But unfortunately,
it's consultants selling magic smoke and snake oil again.
Consultants should be, as a consultant myself, I do only want to fix the problems that they have and the problems that they know that they have, which can be fixed. They don't come to us and say, find us a solution. That is completely different, and I would never really do that. Or it would be knowing that they actually understand what it is, rather than just giving them something blind, because that's not really consultancy. That's just, as you say, snake oil in a sense, So.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with a lot of this, I mean, we've seen it on Twitter where people said, "Oh, my wife shone the laser at a plane, and it was this." And it was manned aviation at 4,000 feet up.
Yeah, which is actually against the law, isn't it? It is actually against the law. That is.
It is, yeah. The funny one was the pinging a laser at the aircraft, going, it must be aliens because it's reacted and it's turned the lights off. But that's procedure. You turn the lights off to stop the idiot pinging your plane again, because it can affect your eyesight. There is a pilot that's been logged having an injury from one of these incidents already.
But my question is, why
in this time?
Oh yes, the military pilot. It sounded like it was minor, but it is recorded.
But so my question is, right, if you've got experts that go on TV or the internet saying stuff, they should be saying, actually, guys, take a step back. You should be looking at flight radar and other flight software. It doesn't always show up as manned aviation because sometimes people do like to turn off their beacons. Some people like to travel and not have their location pinged. Elon Musk was famous for doing it on Twitter. But the chances are what you do straight away is you go to your flight radar, you look what's flying nearby at height, up to 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers out, you will still see manned aviation. Look at the direction you're looking at, check these radars. It could be a drone, but, a small drone, but that'll be really low over the city. You know what I mean? Because you only go 400 feet. If it's high up, it's something else. It's not a drone.
But some of the panic was also that there were some senators saying that drones are flying at night and that's illegal and you shouldn't have that at all. When in actual fact you can fly a drone at night, and when they're going onto the news and they're giving these false narratives by saying that you cannot fly a drone at night, that is more harmful, because if there is someone who is flying and actually working, for example, and then you have someone coming up and complaining and going, you're not allowed to do that. Again, it's the damage that the media is doing by this, by this false information, and it's so harmful. It really is so harmful. And of course, this is getting lost in all the mix, which of course is not good.
And this is the thing, these consultants, experts they have on should be pushing what can be done, what is reality, saying, look, drones can be flown at night, for example, as Stephen says. They should be pushing what is actually up there. It's just crazy.
Yeah, because those drone shows would be pretty bloody boring in the daytime, wouldn't they? With the illumination.
Yes.
Well, I don't know, Bruce. There was one last week. There was a drone show last week.
Oh yeah, the Chinese one.
Fell out the skies.
I don't know if you're spotting here, but a senator has posted
really done that.
A replica of a TIE fighter being transported as being a crashed drone.
He hasn't really done that.
It looks like he has, really.
He hasn't really.
The finest political minds of the world's largest superpower.
He cannot really have done that.
I hope he's being sarcastic.
But he does mention January the 20th. Oh, January the 20th. Claims more for the White House. Oh, what? I thought it was December 20th that they had to respond to that thing by. But if that's a shot down drone, then he might think it's January 20th.
There was that plane that crashed too that was reported as a drone.
That was the community notes against it.
Are you doing that right now?
Well, no, there's someone else there, but people will be able to go into that and put it as helpful. But yeah, that one is pretty decent comedy.
He's got to be tongue in cheek. It's got to be.
I can't wait for the next elections when all this stuff's rolled out. Look how stupid this guy is. Would you vote for this guy? Look, he's an idiot. I called one senator an imbecile this morning. He hasn't responded.
Brilliant.
And Nesta, you're wondering why we're talking about this, and we're not Americans. But the upshot of this is, unfortunately, you guys in America are going to get a shed load of new regulations on the back of this, and those regulations will roll out to the rest of the world in one form or another. This is much like the Gatwick incident.
The one thing I do think with this, because obviously we know what went on with Gatwick, and that's just atrocious that we're still fighting it to this day. But the good thing here is that we're not getting the same, because we've had Reuters putting out the transcripts, and then soon afterwards they've actually been publishing the same stuff. So they put about a number of sightings and how many are valid. So it's less than 2%, so 100 out of 5,000 and all that. So they've actually been putting figures out. So what we are getting here is actually, because I think they've seen as well, thinking, oh bollocks, if we don't do this, there's people already lasering aircraft. This isn't going to stop. And so we have to put the facts out. So it'd actually be more dangerous to cover it up. So I'm actually hopeful here, because you have heard them. There are common sense heads, certainly in Washington on this, that I think there's a good chance there won't be a backlash, because they will see just how stupid it is. But what will happen is they will get out a lot more counter, because what is clear is these military facilities have no counter drone because they're relying on eyes. You know, what the fuck is people doing relying on eyes in 2024 when they're known to be so fallible? In fact, there's a good one actually with I put it out dated again, but there's a podcast with Samira Shackle being interviewed about the Gatwick investigation, and it's really good because it's done by a pilot, and the pilot actually mentions that the pilots are even trained because there's a lot of stuff that plays tricks in the US. For example, they're saying if you look at a light that's turned on continually, it'll start looking like it's moving, and it's all this kind of stuff that they're taught that these things will happen with your eyes. So it's actually part of your training because these things will happen from fatigue and the stuff. So if you've got someone out, but this doesn't go on to like security staff and people that are probably looking up at the sky, they're not getting any training. So really, there needs to be training. But more than that, it's like you should be using your eyes anyway. You should do as the RAF have and have your AUKUS system. So you've got your drone tuned radar, your RF detection, you've got your EO head. So they can record the video evidence and all that malarkey, and then you won't. And I think that's why we've not heard any drama from the United States Air Force since the RAF turned up. You know, I think they probably knocked that on the head, but we'll see what comes out of that. But yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, everyone's got the evidence on there. You know, the drone communities over there can literally just take all the evidence and say, look, this was ludicrous. But the very fact, as you're about to show later, that you've got members of the press that are now just throwing away the questions at the Pentagon to put in a joke because they know how silly it is, tells you that people are starting to realize what's going on.
Interesting one on humans and night vision. So I didn't know this, and this is Neil deGrasse that said this, the astrophysicist. You know the moon. So sometimes we see the moon and it looks really big in the sky.
The moon sees me, yeah.
So full moon, it looks really big in the night sky because your human eye it's got no definition in relativity. It can't work out how big the moon is. So it makes it bigger than it really is. And he said, if you stand, turn around and look through your legs, and it sounds crazy, your eyes will then be able to sort it out because then you will get a reference. And then all of a sudden, the moon will go down in size. It's a strange phenomenon, and it's true, right? Everyone's going to laugh at me. Everyone's going to take the mick, right?
Yeah,
and it's got
that's right.
Lift my dress up. Lift up my dress.
But it's got a specific scientific name that I just can't remember. But next time you've got a big full moon, it looks really big in the sky, turn around and look through your legs at it. Apparently, it will then, your brain can work out its actual size. And
no frames of reference.
This is what
Space 1999. Eh? He's going on about Space 1999 again already.
To be honest,
this is what we use when we are on operations at night time. This is what we use. Nobody's allowed to use white light. White light will damage your eye, and I think I've been saying this before. Usually, the best thing if your eyes are damaged, and you always find that if you look absolute dead center, that's always your blind spot. So your blind spot will always be dead center of your eye. So if you want to actually see better, you actually look from the side of your eye. Then you'll actually see a lot better. And that's when people get confused because they will see something and then they'll look up and then it'll vanish, and then they'll kind of look away and then they'll see it again and then they'll look up in the center and then it'll vanish. And that's what you should do. So, but that's why we use red light. But if you use white light and you put that white light,
you attract the wrong kind of man with a
eye,
red light. You attract crowds with a red light, all looking for something.
Well, what I was going to say on the Space 1999 thing, if it wasn't for the fact I've been occupied with doing a comedy video anyway, I was actually going to try and get one of the Eagles, photograph it outside at night, and try and get that as one of the drone sightings. Which on that point actually, Fox News were asking for people to send in sightings. So
here's a video now. This might be it.
Yeah, that's legit. That looks legit. Yeah. They don't like the cold weather, those TIE fighters.
It looks like Helsinki today.
It's not the size of an SUV though.
No, it's somewhat bigger. I like the stormtrooper leaning up against it. That's great. Thanks, MTV, for that one. There we go. So you now may continue normal viewing.
Yeah, with Fox News asking for stuff, there's been a few people that have tried stuff. So I'm told somebody put a piece of video that was lights on their toaster to them. I did festoon lights, and another operator got a motorway shot, turned it 90 degrees, and submitted that. So we'll have to see how many of those managed to get on the air as being the drone.
I should submit mine then.
Yeah.
Do you think they'd take mine?
Oh, they'll take
Cool.
Anything. Absolutely anything. I think my internet, I think, is dropping out. So I'll be probably going in a second. We shall see. You're all getting very, very blocky. But anyway, always, that's just the way you look, isn't it? So shall we go to which shall we go to one of yours there, Ian?
Let's go to the Independence Day video so people can see a comedy representation of what has happened from Laken through to
representation.
He uses the word comedy very loosely, doesn't he?
A little man with an organ playing in the front to come up. Right, at stage.
Heath, England,
oh, here it comes.
And NIMBYs are seeing mysterious lights.
I hear aliens can bring dead people back to life. Thinking about it, they better not resurrect Jimmy Savile.
Never before have so many recorded video so badly. How about this? We put a virus into the mobile network. That way we can disable Karen's phone, neutralizing the clickbait at source. Ta-da! The United States Air Force is in panic.
They can send up an aircraft umbrella high enough to make any attack ineffective.
I don't have a clue what you're talking about, Phil. Not a fucking clue.
This winter, it's mayhem in the skies.
Sir, there are 6 of them. Bearing 215, range 150 miles. Got a dozen more of them.
Can the Royal Air Force save them?
Wow, I love the smell of counter-drone technology in the morning.
This time, the experts can sit it out and get drunk. Surely, better video could be recorded on a potato and more drunk. Even in their pants. Those are not drones or aliens. No. If anybody knows what an alien looks like, it's me. I've battled them twice. I've even said there's more convincing video of that Jurassic thing in Scotland. What is it? Yes, Loch Ness Monster. Things are about to get far worse. Not New Jersey, too. Oh, fuck me. Independence Day 3. The Revenge of NIMBYs with Camera Phones.
There we go.
A lot of work there, eh?
Yeah, that's actually a Hollywood voice actor that does the likes of Family Guy. So I was just cheeky, and I've asked him a few times, can you do me a voiceover? So
is he on Fiverr?
Unfortunately, he's not as cheap as a Fiverr, but he's not too expensive either. He does a fair price for. He'd have done me that actually for around about 50 quid. It cost a little bit more because I went back with a few edits, but I can't argue with that. For some, AI, while you can clone a voice, you can't put any of the emotion and character like a drunken expression and stuff, which he can do. So. Yeah, I was happy with that.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, we have lost Gary for a second, haven't we?
Yeah, he's good, excellent. Let's get on with it. Oh, how do these? I'll change the look of the screen because we're not looking at anything at the moment.
Yeah,
we got a. It was Independence Day.
You can always show the comedy question, which is this has just happened at the Pentagon.
Here, real quick, let me go to Jeff Schogel, Task and Purpose.
Thank you. Have any of the drone sightings been accompanied with sightings of a large rectangular black object, sometimes called a monolith, often accompanied by Also sprach Zarathustra by Richard Strauss?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I would probably have to think back to the words of a very wise prophet, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who said, "These aren't the drones you're looking for." But beyond that, I'll just have to move along.
But this kind of highlights now that the press have clicked that this is just a farce, and we might as well get in some comedy question while we've got the opportunity, because there's no point asking the same old questions that have already been answered. So yeah, credit to that journalist that did that, because that's the kind of thing I'd do.
Interesting connection here. What is the common theme between Space 1999 and 2001: A Space Odyssey? What's the common link?
I don't know, unless it's to do with one of the model
Martin
names.
Landau.
Oh, is he in both?
Yeah, he's in both.
Oh, he must have been very. Yeah, it's probably because he was so young then that I've just not.
Yeah. He was. He went off to the moon to see the monolith, early in the film. Yeah, it's good.
I'll go back and watch it again, and then I'll go. Ha-ha.
Yeah, you should. I've watched it heaps of times. Still don't understand it. It's great.
Especially the fact, though, given how old it was, because it was such good models, they still generally stand up. Even
it's aged very well, I have to say. Speaking of aging well, here's Gary.
Guess what? The power went out, and
oh no,
who knows why?
Oh,
who knows?
We showed the Pentagon briefing with the music while you were gone.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Exactly. I told him not to put the bloody music.
Copyright strike. There goes your channel. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's happening a lot to people, isn't it, at the moment? And AI generated copyright strikes as well.
It's crazy.
So yeah, it's problematic for fellows. What else was I going to show? So have we covered that topic, which hopefully next week we won't have to cover again, because I'm getting thoroughly bored of it. I don't know about anyone else.
I reckon it will get dragged on probably another week regardless, but what we'll know will happen in the end, it'll go like Gatwick, and it'll all just fade away and people will forget about it, and they'll go, you remember that thing in New Jersey a couple of years ago? And it's like 7 years afterwards.
The drones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, no one will take responsibility.
This Friday is the 20th, so this Friday is the D-Day for the president to sign. I'm sure he'll sign it off, and all will be good, and the counter UAS people will get their cash, and all will be well.
It will have one benefit, though, because we have kept seeing the Air Force bases having a flap over drones. So at least giving them the counter drone and put it in there, you will knock it on the head. You will put that expertise there, and where it is someone genuine, they'll be dealt with, and where they know actually there's not there.
No. Did you not see the FAA video? They have just get their smartphone app out, and it immediately shows them that it's a legit drone. Where were all these Air Force bases? This technology's there. Why weren't they using it? The FAA wouldn't lie to us, would they? Surely not.
No.
So to be honest, though, I mean, that kind of stuff isn't going to do for an Air Force base, because you'll always have the argument, they'll have the common sense argument. We all know you wouldn't enable RID if you're being naughty. So they have to have the proper gear there. But it has shown yet again, which is a good point, Bruce, that RID was completely and totally pointless. All that money has been spent, and it has achieved zero. And there wasn't even good communications. If on day one there'd been good communications with FAA and that's all they had, and said, by the way, you could use RID, you'd have an argument for it. But the very fact that everyone has just been silent, it's almost like every authority's thought, I'm not handling this, I'll leave it to them. And everyone's done that, and it just hasn't been picked up until someone's thought, well, if we don't, an airline is going to end up, or helicopter or whatever is going to end up being attacked, and it's going to be all hell's going to break loose. So we have to do something, but it shouldn't be getting to that point.
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
It should have been handled the same way as it was with EASA, where it was silent, just absolutely silent. But of course, when you get your operator ID, you get all the information, which has been for the past few years. And then about a month before RID came in, which was at the beginning of January 2024, they just said, as of January 2024, you have to be RID compliant. And there was no that you must or you have to be, or there was no, I mean, there was no BS. It was just put out there. And everybody knows that the authorities here, well, actually in Europe, don't have the ability to follow up on this. Everyone has, but there's never been any issue. And there hasn't been anything afterwards. And even if you mention to the authorities afterwards, they kind of go, no. So it's not a thing at all. So they haven't made it into a big thing, and they just, it was literally a small paragraph saying that this is what you have to do, and that was it. And then there was a few complaints. There was a few people going, "Oh, I'm not happy about this," and then it all died away, and that's it. And we know it's not being used, you know. So,
well, Johnny D mentions sorry, Steve, I jumped all over you there. Johnny D mentioning drone delivery complaints. Did we see the old bloke shooting down the wing, or not shooting down, shooting at the wing drone? And I believe yesterday or the day before, a youngster shot down. So he got fined $5,000. A youngster shot down something somewhere in California side, I think it was, and they're not pressing charges. They're not doing anything about it. So it's very much one rule for one, and
it wasn't a Fed though. The local police won't be interested because it's a federal crime, not a local crime. America's got a strange policing system. Feds for federal regulations. Sheriffs.
But how did it not elevate just because a Fed didn't turn up? Because
they're busy looking for drones.
Looking for drones. Oh, there we are.
I think what you have to do in that situation is, if you get your drone shot down, is really get onto a news organisation, make a big noise about it, and then suddenly the authorities will do the job. You shouldn't have to do that, but that's the reality of the world, and that's not just true of the United States. That's true here in the UK, and I'm sure it's true of a lot of other countries as well. Those who make the biggest noise, you always, it shouldn't be the way it is, but it is.
It's kind of funny too, because all these Americans saying, "Oh, it's the size of an SUV. It was hovering 100 feet over my house. We shot at it." Well, what lame shots you are if you can't hit an SUV at 100 feet. The fact that it was an airliner 5 kilometers away at 4,000 feet might explain why your bullet fell short of the mark. But I mean, it won't be long.
Stupid, and they don't know that. They have no idea. They have no sense of depth.
No.
It's.
But that thing, do you see that thing in one of my videos where a news reporter says, "Over my shoulder right now, there's one of these drones," and they focus on it. It's an airplane, obviously, clearly an airliner. And he says, "It's certainly not an airplane." Really? What's wrong with these people? The media has a lot to answer for.
It does. I mean, this has been almost entirely a media issue. They've created it, and the US reporters are particularly hard to shame. They don't care if they're even caught red-handed.
You can't trust the Daily Mail and Fox News. Who can you trust?
At least for journalists in the UK, they don't like being called out red-handed. But in America, I think the problem is a lot of them have got a lot of followers. So they've got like 1 million followers anyway. So they're making money off the engagement. So they don't care if people are coming in and saying, "You're not a journalist. Look at this garbage you're putting out," because they're like, "Well, you've just earned me, you've just earned me a few dollars by coming into my thing and kicking this off."
But there was someone on CNN. I don't know if Gary. I don't know if you know this guy, Brett Velosevich. I don't know if you know him.
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
He was on CNN, and he's someone within the drone industry network thing. Anyway, he was on as a drone expert, and he wasn't helping the situation. He literally fed into the news by saying, "We don't know what these are, but we are investigating and we suspect that it's going to be something bad." And you're like, "What? I mean, come on, man! It's even people who are supposed to represent the industry are not actually helping. I don't know if he's part of any political party. I just felt
I do know who you mean now. Actually, I do know.
I think I looked him up, and I think he is a paid advisor for Fox News. So that will explain it, in that he would just say what he's.
I thought there was some kind of party line. there.
There's been a heap of drone professionals, drone experts, people in the drone industry reporting, oh, these are definitely drones, with the kind of drones we're not using. They're far more sophisticated, probably military drones. These are people who know they're not drones, but they get a chance to go on TV. Oh, I'll talk it up. And they probably say, emphasize this. But I know how it works. I know the media works. Can you focus on this, please? And if you can possibly give the impression that these are drones, we'd love that. And so people do it because they wanted their 5 minutes of fame.
I just it's a fame, but it really brings it there because that, mud sticks. Mud really sticks. And when you have someone who is an expert or someone within the drone industry network and who you possibly did have some kind of respect for or whatever, then it's now gone. It is now gone. If let's say if someone brought Gary on and they said to him, "Can you pull this down?" You're going to go, "What the hell, Gary?" He's just, what? Have you sold out?
The thing that frustrated me with it is that I tried to tell a few journalists and explain quite clearly and show them, like Samira's piece. All someone had to do was look at that, and there's the podcast of it. You don't even have to read it, and it's all laid out for you. There were so many people that could have scooped this story and said everyone else has got it wrong. There's definitely no drone there. Put it out, and they could even be then doing all the interviews with proper experts, and they come out at the end of it. They've still got a compelling story, and they come out with a lot of credit. But nobody seemed to be interested in that.
But here's the thing: even if there is a drone, even if there was a drone in the sky, so what? So you are allowed to have drones at night.
Yes.
So I don't know what the problem is. Okay, if it's in restricted airspace, yeah, it's a problem. But if someone's just walking in the park and they look up and they're taking video and going, and then sending that to Fox News and going, "Oh my God, there's a drone," and they're going, "Oh my God," they are allowed to fly at night.
Yeah, it was a non-story from the start. So it's just a non-story is just being pushed out there into something for no good reason.
It's because the media knows that ad rates at this time of the year are higher than at any other time of the year. The more stories you can push out, the more money you can make. And so they're just rolling it up, keeping the story rolling for as long as possible because it's money in the bank.
No, it exactly is. And, if you can be a bit farsighted thinking about this, it shows how much people, I think I said this last week, are disconnected with just being outside looking up at the sky at night. They're just disconnected with Netflix. Exactly. Or your channel and OnlyFans, obviously, Bruce. I mean, what else would anyone be doing? It just small commissions required. And I've heard it's small.
As someone mentioned in the comments, and I think what they're getting at is, the thing we were pointing out anyway was these weren't drones anyway. What annoyed me was, again, this lack of knowledge about drones. It wasn't just the fact of here's lights in the sky. It's, listen to it. You can hear it's a jet engine. It's not. The drone has a very distinct sound. It sounds like buzzing bees, and nobody had put the video up with the actual sound of a drone. So you're thinking, wait on a minute, and some people, to their credit, earlier on when he tried to say, wait a minute, this is jet because listen to the motor. They took it down. Although I think that actually, to be fair, were people in the UK when it was around Lakenheath, and when they got to the US, there was just a complete lack of humility with a lot of people. You'd show that this absolutely wasn't a drone, and you just get back a load of abuse. They convinced themselves so much, and that's why I think in the Pentagon briefing and that, instead of them saying, "Look, you dipshit," it was aircraft you were recording. They've been saying there's lots of drones around in the US. There's a million. They fly at night as well. Basically what they're saying is we don't want to insult you, so we will soften the message for you. But basically, you ain't seen anything that's illegal, nefarious whatsoever. So just move on.
Well, yes, it started the alien invasion, according to Almir.
It started back in the 50s at Roswell.
Well, funny enough, a lot of these instances have happened in historic times of uncertainty, i.e.,
Foo Fighters.
the US are getting ready for a new president, and some people are happy about that, and some people aren't. So it's a time of uncertainty, and this is when these sort of mass events happen. And it would have been 30 years ago, it would have been UFOs. Now it's just easier to tag it on to drones, and it's
America's it's a funny place. I watched Trump giving his little speak on it, and he's a clown. I mean, not politically, but just he's got makeup on. He missed a bit on the bottom of his lip, so you could see his skin color from his lip. You can see he's got caked on orange makeup, and I'm thinking, this is amazing. Someone would come up before the cameras, made up like a clown, and then tell them that the government knows what's happening, and it's all.
But
I can't believe those things. I really can't.
But that's dangerous words, isn't it? When you drop in words like that, you've got to be very careful, because that revs people up. Words are very, very powerful. They're just as powerful as a bomb in some regards. You'd be very, very, very careful with what you say. And as I say, if I were over there and were the FBI, I would be trying to track down where this exactly started, just getting ready for the court case when somebody does shoot down a crewed aircraft, or someone does blind someone with a laser. We better get to the heart of this story. And I
don't think a manned aircraft's going to be shot down, but I think we could have injuries. You know, over in the Arab countries where they shoot guns off as a celebration, and people 3 miles away get hit in the head with a bullet and die. That's the kind of thing that would worry me. Someone with a pistol firing at 45 degrees, someone a mile and a half downwind or downrange is at risk. You know, and people could die.
This actually happened a few months ago. Actually, I think it was. I'm not sure if it was in Africa or it was in South America, but there was a bullet went through. I think it was I think it was an ATR, and it went through, and luckily that there was no one sitting there, but it went through. So there has been a recent shooting. You know, obviously it was an accident, or wasn't wasn't intense.
Well, it's the idea of flight, not switching their lights off and all this. So I always think of Close Encounters. They've got the ability to fly right across the universe, yet they can't speak any language, and they just in effect bring a great big disco. That's what they did. Can you tell it's the end of the 70s when they arrived with a big disco spaceship? But now let's move on, and let's hope that America won't be moving on from this for a while, I suppose. But let's move on to
Haiti. It was in Haiti. There you are.
Is it Haiti? There you go. So, two things connected from the UK, the secret space program. Arpaz, go on, Ian. Did you want to jump in first?
I'll get quickly, and then you go on this. I just wanted to point out that there has been another Freedom of Information land this week, and it's connected. This is going back to the Lake and Heath. So this is all the 4 bases that a Civil Aviation Authority have confirmed, no air proxies, and the Military Aviation Authority. I wouldn't have expected them to have got it anyway, but it was just, if something had gone to the CIA, it might have gone on to them. So just to dot the I's and cross the T's, I asked them, and they've confirmed they've had no information about any close encounters of aircraft with drones.
And there we are. There's the airliner after plane hit by gunfire, and that was just someone doing the old celebrations, was it, Steve?
Apparently, yeah.
Allegedly so. Now in the UK, so you need to get your voices heard over there. Dear viewer, if you're in the UK, the charges are going up, and
only a little bit.
That's never a good thing. Only a little bit.
Only
eight times in that particular. Only 8 times. Yeah, that's
drone business.
8 times.
So what's going to be interesting is Stephen will know how much does a Sail 2 cost in Europe.
I knew this question was going to come up at some point. How much is Sail 2? Last time we done that and we could put it through, it was 270 euros.
€270 for a Sail 2. Now, Gary, what does it say here, do you think, that a Sail 2 would cost?
Isn't it thousands? Or am I wrong?
Well, initial application 312, non-technical review 312. So yeah, I guess they'll want those two. That's 624 then, isn't it? Or what do you read there? Do you see a bigger number than that?
No,
that's hourly. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. That's the hourly rate. That's your hourly fee, and number of hours roughly to be 12. So whatever 12 times 312 is.
Yes.
So yeah, you'll be able to afford that. You'll be able to afford that, Mark.
Have you seen the OSC to Sora? Right on the left, to transition to Sora, £1,200. Sora was meant to be, or as I understood it, was meant to be, we can make everything quicker and better. It's going to be less complicated and everything will be nice and easy. And if that's the case, what the hell's going on with pricing structure? I mean, talk about inflation busting. It looks to us like the CAA want all the small operators out of the way. Let's make it really expensive and just get the big boys in.
I don't think that's the purpose of it, though, is it? It's the way I hear it is they don't have the funding for the future flight stuff anymore. So they're basically they're in this position where they're just trying to make the drone industry, little as it is, pay for it.
That's not good enough reason to hike these fees up. Look, we all know that a drone can deliver from A to B. Right, we all know that they can fly long distance. We've known this for a long time. The only problem is the CA has never had the, what's the word? I'm trying to be kind. I want to be nice. They've never doing it under the regulations has been hard, shall we say, because they have all these boxes that have got to be ticked and someone's got to sign it off, and then there's, a drone accident can never happen, etc., etc. I would not pay a penny towards future flight as a drone operator if I had the choice, because future flight, we know what can be done. The only thing left is making it electronic conspic for all, but that looks like that's been backdoored by the CAA for drones anyway, because a guy left the CAA, went to work for someone, and then came back. And all of a sudden, that hardware's been adopted. What the heck? So why move somewhere? Is the suspicion? I'm not saying it did, but there's going to be suspicion there. But when you're going to go from OSC ORA renewal from 625 to $5,000, they are taking the mick. And if I was given the choice to play for future flight or not, no, I would not pay a penny. It's not worth it for the everyday operator.
Yeah, this is the problem. I mean, I wasn't defending it, by the way, when I mentioned why they were doing it. I'm just saying that is why. But I mean, the issue is here. If you put the prices up like that, a load of people will drop out, so you won't get the money anyway. Yeah. So you'll just be making the problem. You'll be pushing it back and just pushing people out of business in the process.
Well, they'll go underground. Everyone will go underground. Why would you pay this money? I'll go and do it in the open category, and I don't need to be with CA at all. Operator ID.
The problem is,
Mark, you're saying that the CAA are going to charge you for basically the work they're going to do with AAM and vertiports. The drone industry is
Yeah. So basically, this is the stuff that the CAA engages none of the wider industry with. All the people that are actually out there doing stuff to earn money. Yeah. It's just like, you might be just a few big players that are close to it down in London that are there having tea and biscuits, but the rest, well, that's it. The lobbying with hobnobs, you see.
With hobnobs,
kind of biscuit.
That's it. Yeah.
The issue is here that you're not going to get the buy-in unless you're chatting to the rest of the industry and you're giving them what they want. And a lot of operators do not need this future flight stuff, and they know this, but they're kind of pretending they do. And then you're asking people to pay for it. They're not going to be happy, and they've got every right not to be happy. If you were having conversations and doing these little things, in little steps, you actually have a chance. But it's not. And we've seen every consultation isn't a consultation. It's decisions made in advance. Manipulate statistics, questions worded to get the answer that's desired. All that needs tearing down and a better relationship with the industry.
Well,
what if there's a chance that UK just hypothetically, what happens if the UK goes back to the EU?
The real trouble starts.
Yeah. So, which means that the UK would have to adopt, the EASA regulations. Now, I don't know if there's a plan down the line, whether they think that this is going to happen at some point, but is this their last stand to try to make some money? Because if that's the case, that it goes back to EASA, they'll have to revert to how it is, and they won't make any money because it's just a flat fee.
Well, here we could just go to Ireland, get our sail to there, for peanuts money.
But surely the UK cannot continue. They are not going to go down. So let's just say that as of 2025, the UK is back in the EU, right? This will not stick because it will not stick.
Well, the pricing structure will be down to them for the UK.
No. It's a flat fee so whether I get a sail to here in Finland or in Spain or in France, it's the same price.
Ah, interesting. Because I know that different aviation authorities are funded differently, so I didn't know if ours would have a different way of doing that, Stephen. If it is like the YASA rule set and the CA went back into YASA, I don't know then, because that would mess that pricing.
It would mess it up, and that's what I'm saying. If there is a plan for the next, let's say, 3 years to go back into the EU, is this their last ditch to make some money out of this?
Oh, it's an interesting question. And let's not forget that the CAA misrepresented its numbers to the Houses of Parliament here in the UK, which is actually very serious. And I do wonder if there's any recourse for that, because it has been uncovered that they allegedly they led Parliament. And if that's the
wheels
case,
are in motion.
That is a serious concern, and it would show the CAA RPAS unit at the time was not fit for purpose as such. If you go to spin such a yarn, and there has been talk before now of, do we somehow get the RPAS sector removed from the CA and it becomes like an independent body of some kind? And I hate to say this, and I never thought I would say this, I am beginning to wonder if that would not be better. Take the operator money ID and just, got all the operator ID income. You've got the...
we can buy a Raspberry Pi 5 then.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I mean, I'd be the first to get rid of the company that did that. I mean, hell, that'll be gone, and then the drop kick so quick out the door, it'd be unbelievable.
Gliding, paragliding, and microlights are all self-regulating, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. If a
I'll drop this. I'll just say, everyone should read this letter that Chris Crockford sent to the CA. He's not happy with them, and we're very aware. This almost speaks to the FOIAs and stuff, but it's not quite a FOIAs. We're very aware of quite a few other letters. The Civil Aviation Authorities last couple of Fridays have been pretty, well, Monday morning, I guess, if they come in and open the mailbox then, have been pretty bad. So there is some pressure being applied to them, and I can say no more than that.
Just to get a rough handle on this, for people who don't know, and I don't know the full story behind this either, is this, because I assume with this here, this is kind of your BV loss, tried to do do future flight kind of things, and that the CIA made everything so difficult and the company no longer exists anymore, and there's just lots of fallout around it. It's that kind of situation, which doesn't look very good when we're talking about just the future of drones and trying to say that the UK innovates and so on, if things are falling apart this badly.
The CIA does not do drone innovation as such because we can't. Everything is done overseas before it gets to us. If it's crop spraying, it's already been done. If it's doing deliveries, it's already been done, because here it's too hard and too expensive to do. We just have a system that they like to see that they can be done. They need proof that's not done elsewhere. You know, I know someone that's flown a 5-meter Mugen. It was built here, designed here, but it had to go to Ireland to fly because you couldn't get it past the regulator, even in a sterile environment. You go, can we fly? No. It takes too long. You're just better off going somewhere else. And they're like, it was like one of the biggest airframes flown in Europe, but it wasn't flown here. You know, British pilots, British people, it just take it to Ireland. It's easier to do.
Talking of innovation, Mark, I really think at this point in time, with the money that's going to be flowing about, with all the panic and hysteria and that, you really genuinely ought to be firing out emails over to the US, using LinkedIn, all of that, with the count, with the I'm trying to think what we call that, but the drone menace device that can bring countries to their knees.
I need to move on that. I need to do something on that, because right now it would absolutely play into what's going on. We've worked out how we can make this UAP thing. We could make it just explode around the world, and there'd be nothing anyone could do about it. It would be astounding, to be honest. But I've got to be nice to a degree. But you could make a mess of counter UAS. You could it would mess with so much. It would be unbelievable. But
we've got a perfect demo of how crazy the world gets so very quickly. So I do think genuinely move on that, because at the end of the day, all people can say is not interested, sod off. And if they don't,
true.
This time next year, Mark, we could be millionaires.
We'll be millionaires
again.
Yeah, that's right.
But Chris's story is really interesting, because what's happened is, if you read the letter, everyone, at a certain point, the CIA has this attitude where if you don't do something, or you do something we don't like, we will call you an unfit person to be an accountable manager.
Yeah.
So now they've pulled this trick before. So it's public knowledge. So I'm not saying anything that's not public. So there used to be, I think it was UAV Hub. Was it Matt who used to work there?
Yeah.
He used to question the CIA a lot, and they threatened him if he goes public online, YouTube, doing his videos. If he continues doing that, and they don't like it, they will pull his ability to be the accountable manager. And if they get snotty, the CIA gets snotty just because they don't like what you say. That's it. And you have to be really careful. I mean,
that in itself is indicative of something very, very wrong.
It is.
An organization shouldn't be vindictive, get upset by.
That's right.
Actually, what's the word?
Well, it's the whole
totalitarianism.
Totalitarianism. Yes, that'll be a word. That'll do it. Yeah.
Is this an indictment? The CIA in New Zealand has had the same allegations made against it, and they've had culture changes and reviews and things because of all the things they do that only they could do because of the authority and power issued to them.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel for Chris, because it's just, look, what they've asked for, I think, is made public. I'm not going to say just in case it isn't, but they just that business is now gone. That business is shut down, but they still want records from that business to do with a different business that's got bugger all to do with it. It's crazy. You know, Chris never had an accident. They didn't lose anything in the sea. They didn't pollute anywhere. There wasn't, you know, he didn't not do the paperwork as such. You know what I mean?
It's a bit more than that, isn't it? Because he actually really did do the paperwork, and he really did have a fantastic set of trials, and it's probably the most comprehensive experiment, I shall call it, trials experiment that happened in the UK. He did a really, really, really good job, and they just swiped it here, swiped it there, this reason, that reason. And the future flight thing actually champions some people that did have incidents, accidents, and problems, and really hadn't. I can't stand I can't stand the future flight thing. It's now flight that we care about. Who cares about the future? It's now flight we should be sorting out, and it's all here. The technology's here. It all works. It's all good. Let's just crack on.
We've had it for years, and we all know we've had it for years. It's you know, and
it's what Stu UAV Futures saying that sounds like it invites. Mark, it sounds like it invites corruption. Well, I'll tell you the primary corruption, which they won't say is corruption, but I think it's corruption. But then who am I? Is that they're hiding a lot of these Civil Aviation Authority trials are then hidden behind a non-disclosure agreement. Yet these trials have been run by a government entity that's paid for by the people. Therefore, all the people should be able to see the results of the tests. And then people are disappearing from it.
I think that's only happening in the UK.
Oh, yeah, probably, yeah.
Because everything else is happening in well, I don't know if this happens in the US or not, but certainly within Europe, it's it's behind Cesar and all the rest of it, and all these other trials, which is very open, and whenever these trials are over, there is a detailed report which everyone is actually, and you can see where every penny has been spent. So
don't get that.
It's but no, you don't.
And you want to see the outcomes as well, don't you? You want to see that bit work, that bit didn't work. You want to see not just the money, but the actual outcomes as well. It's very
what you need. What you need is the outcomes, and then the audit trail that says this is what we managed to achieve with the money spent. That's what you want to see, and this is our conclusion. Is in yes, it's safe not to do or safe to do whatever, blah blah blah. But those two things go hand in hand, because any company that's wanting to do it's got to understand what these costs are going to be to them. Do you know what I mean? It's I mean, but it's sad to see it when the CAA digs its heels in like that, and they've had management change. We know that the sector leaders changed a bit and stuff, but you would hope the attitudes would have changed a bit, but they've just dig themselves in. And it's a bit of a
doing
shame.
so well on the inclusivity front. They're doing very well on that front.
Yes, very perhaps.
I know good people at CAA. I know good people at CAA, and they do a good job. 90% of the time, they're doing a good job. But every now and then you hear stuff like this, and it just disheartens you for the UAS sector in the UK.
All the CAA's company vehicles will be Jaguar from now on.
The new ones.
Well, with the money they want per hour, they can afford it.
Absolutely.
The money per hour, that'll cover it.
But also all the dross I've seen on this diversity stuff they've been putting out. Jeez.
Future Jag.
Future Jag. There you go. It's a Jag future at the CAA. It's look, we've gone over the hour now. I haven't got any more before we. So sit back, relax whilst we. Has anyone got any more before we release them? Oh yes,
beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. It's a choking hazard. And I contacted the Civil Aviation on the 13th of this month, and I asked them what's going on, because this seems to fall through the cracks in our regulations, because we have 3 categories of vehicles that are controlled by our drone regulations. There is radio controlled or remotely piloted aircraft systems. This isn't if you're flying it autonomously, you've got no control once it leaves your hand. There's control line and there's no strings on this. And then there's free flight. But this isn't free flight because it is flying a programmed course. It's not flying freely. It is following a set of instructions that are baked into the firmware. So I said, is this even covered by your regulations? And their response 3 days later was, great question. We're seeking some advice from the CAA legal team. We will update you as soon as we can. And that was on the 16th, and I've heard nothing since. So I think there's a whole lot of people going, oh my God, we've got something unregulated. What do we do? And the video I put up, there's a lot of DJI haters out there. 23,000 people have watched the video I put up on this. And a lot of people have expressed similar sentiments to myself that DJI, fantastic products, policies suck.
Oh, an interesting thing while we're here. This thread on Twitter is absolutely kicking off between the journalists and the counter-drone company. The journalist is even now throwing mud at Leonardo, saying their system didn't function, which I think will be a load of crap. But it's here. It's here. So I'll pass you to see if you put it into chat so people can start following it, Gareth.
I've got to fire up my thing now. Where am I?
Let's post that in the people to see. But yeah, that's going to be quite interesting when you're telling people their counter drone system, because it's quite funny. If you notice in Canada, they're not having all these panics, and they bought the Leonardo system start of this year. So
yeah, but it didn't work at Gatwick either.
Well, it did at the end because that's what opened it up. But...
No, because it didn't find any drones.
Oh yeah, because there weren't any there. Yeah, exactly.
When is the anniversary?
Not far off. Jesus, 2 days. 2 days.
We have a party, eh? We should have a Gatwick stream. The great Gatwick stream.
We had great Gatwick stream. Yeah, great Gatwick Bake Off.
I'll find you the exact. Let me 2 seconds. I'll find you the exact Leonardo post because I saw it a second ago.
Oh, look at drones!
Oh, there! Look at those. Those drones are going to hit each other.
They are. They interact.
They're going to hit each other. Yeah.
Right there you go, Gary. It's in the chat there.
What forgot it? What forgot it? Here we go. Suggest your Orca system failed.
But yeah, this counter drone company is probably worth people having a little follow of them for now because they are at least being a voice of reason, which you don't often.
But but does the pop up work there? There's other maybe not that one.
No, well,
because I've heard things about them.
And although it's a crypto system and that, and I know that's no power street. At least the guy there is technically aware of and capable of and knows his subject matter. And he doesn't seem to oversell it. He's just there. This is what we do. You can take it or leave it. But at least, the very fact that he's standing up for Leonardo. These aren't everyday things you see, which is it's interesting.
Have you got a picture of that Gatwick cake handy? Because Gatwick cake has been sent.
Yes, one popped up in my thing. Yes, just today, I think.
Why did you send it? I've forgotten why you sent a cake, but you did send a cake, didn't you?
I did a cake competition last year for the 50th anniversary. So I did a competition about Gatwick, and the people that got the most accurate answer, they got themselves a free cake with Gatwick images on. So we were just having a little bit of fun with it all. In fact, I'll find one on my.
Yeah, I believe you sent one. You sent one to the copper, didn't you? Or allegedly you did, or you didn't. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
I didn't send one to anyone, but I did do a cake that featured a certain a police officer from that event. Let's have a look.
Yeah. In America, there's going to be sending lots and lots of cakes to everybody. So, other than waiting for the cake to arrive, has anyone else got anything else? Oh, but did you activate that thing in the end, Bruce? Did you put a SIM in your phone and get it going.
I can make it. It took what a rigmarole, got it going. It does the job. It follows me around and takes my picture. It's it's a really cool piece of tech. It's amazing what they've built into this with the AI and the everything else. So I mean, I knew what I was getting into when I bought it, and I knew it'd be geofence because it's got these little letters here that says geofence. And so, but I mean, it's so annoying, so irritating. And I've had other people saying, they bought one, they can't fly it in their own backyard because they live just over the way from an airport. When you're not going to be going, it's not a threat to aviation. That's the problem. DJI taken nothing into account. They treat everyone as a bad actor unless you can prove otherwise. And no, it's when I buy something, it's mine. I want to be able to control when, where, and how I use it. It's no longer the responsibility of the manufacturer.
I don't think that's a modern. I don't think that's a modern take on the world, is it? That it's
I own nothing, but I'm not happy.
Well, what's interesting is going back to Bruce's thing about the regulations, and it seems to have slipped through the gap, and it just shows that the regulator can never keep up with technology. And wasn't it YASA, Stephen, who said we're actually going to look at the drone regs because we've made it too complicated. We want to roll back some of this stuff.
Our regulations are 10 years out of date.
Yeah, I think that they have. Well, I'm on the JEDA board. I'm on the board of directors of the JEDA, and we have actually spoken. And we've actually had the head of EASA of the drone department there, and we've actually said that it is time to take some changes, and he's going, he said just fire them out. He said as long as you have the data, as long as you have and that we can look at it and we can actually agree on it, and they've started to do that. So they seem to be fairly fair, I would say, and they are open, but I don't get the impression that they're and then all of a sudden it just gets shelved and stuff, but they have been fairly open about it. So, but at least the people, and obviously myself, who want to do something and listen to the people, listen to the operators, and say, it's time for a change because it's too tight, and they're up for that. So let's see. Let's see. All the time will tell.
We're a laughing stock. Our regulations were forged in 2015 and haven't been updated since. And how much change has there been since then? I mean, it's things like this, or even just small quadcopters weren't even on the radar then. Yet there seems to be no imperative to the only changes they've made are the new Civil Aviation Act, which empowers police to enforce CAA regulations. They haven't changed the regs. They've just given the police the power to enforce them. What the hell? Surely we should catch up a little bit. We've got Canada saying anything under 250 grams, no rules, just don't go out hurting people and breaking their stuff. We've got the UK where you can fly a sub 250 almost anywhere outside of an exclusion zone or a flight restriction zone. But in New Zealand, I can't, you've seen the pictures or reviews of these things, people walking down the street with the thing following them, filming them. Can't do that in New Zealand because the streets are owned by the councils and the councils won't give you permission to fly over the streets with a drone. Can't fly anywhere except my own backyard. And even then, I'm a little bit close to the helipad. So, oh, God.
Yeah, I know. It's all out now. Now what's he sent me? This
is something I wanted to bring up earlier, actually. But
oh, okay. Here we go then. All right, everyone's sitting comfortably.
Yeah. This is just what we've discussed it before, and it's just underlined it this week. The difference between counter drone in the United States and the counter drone in the UK. And I think this has fed into some of the problem. So we see a lot of the US military with counter drone, they've gone for the drone gun. I used AI here to make a generic gun, so I didn't upset anyone, making it look like their kit. So we have a AI image there to represent a US troop with a drone gun doing the RF jamming. And then we've got the RAF and how the RAF do things. And obviously now in Canada, be doing things as well, which is you actually focus on drone detection. So this is, we've seen it exactly the problem in the US. All the problems have come about because they haven't had the awareness of, is there a drone here, there, whatever, near our base. They've all been relying on eyesight, which is the rubbish way of doing it. And obviously, you're going, that's the same thing. It's relying on you actually seeing something close enough to use it. So I think they've got their focus all wrong in that they should be the detection's first and foremost. It should be what everything's about. And then you add your effectors onto this, and it can automate all that anyway. And this is kit that could be, that is transportable, and you set it up. So I mean, obviously, it's not quite as carry around as a gun, but then again, for the kind of issues we're having where it's around bases, these are static locations. So this is where you should be, employing this kind of counter drone system. Put the awareness in there, and you will find out that most of the time there's actually nothing to even be worried about. It was just saying that's the events of the last few weeks have underlined.
Saw the laser thing though, the plugging that laser anti-drone thing again, shooting down little hobby drones with that thing in the media.
Yeah. And did we all see this today? Oh, is it going to play? Oh, please play. I shouldn't have said that. Oh, let's see.
Skip ahead.
Oh, this is where the drone got up really close, isn't it?
Is it the Chinese national?
Yeah.
It's a very jerky drone.
Funny enough, it's like that thing. It's exactly like the gimbal on that thing I've got to review.
Yeah.
Don't the sailors pop out and wave at it? But this happened on the new UK aircraft carrier, didn't it? In Scotland a few years ago, somebody pro in the corner.
That's brilliant. Carrier landing. How many people can say they've done that?
Where is this?
Absolutely.
In
Australia. Australia.
Oh, okay. That's a different.
You cannot
now you'll see. Now here's your sailors, I guess they are.
You know what they're saying? Look, an airliner.
See, with those though, the little thing that's just some hobby doing, pictures of them because the military, and they did a thought there's no harm there, and in truth, there probably is no harm here. But it's that question if you really, you should have an awareness, and
You could have driven past on the quayside by the look of it and got just as good a view.
True. This guy, someone got out potato cam there, didn't they?
Yeah, to be fair, Bruce has got a good point. You could just be on the cart other side and still be getting that exact same thing. And I think we can all be assured that China does actually know how to build a battleship.
They've built mock-ups of them in the
I've heard that they don't actually. I've heard that they don't.
Oh, okay.
They've got a huge navy, China, massive navy.
But apparently they can't go very far. Apparently, they can go. They can't go too far. Yeah, well, that's all they have to go, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Hey, steady on.
Google's inside rowing.
Well, it's like that ship at the harbour there. All you need to do is rent the room that's got the view straight at the ship on the other side. There's 2-story right next to it. And you just get your camera out and go.
Long lens. Can't be the long lens.
That's why the Chinese have bought. I can't remember which base it is in America, but they've bought every building leading into it. It's a funny old thing.
They've been sucking up lots of stuff, haven't they, in America? They own most of the national debt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Right. We're beginning to talk nonsense. Any more for any more? Going once. Going twice. Dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Here we go.
Here we go. There we are. Right. Okay. Sit back, relax. Pick yourself an adult beverage. And
I'm just wondering if this will be worth a look at a little before we wrap up, Gary. The New York Post have just posted. The question is, how long is it going to go on for? Oh, you can click through the video maybe, but it might be going on too long. But they've done a guide of how to spot a drone in the sky. So if nothing else, you ought to probably have a little look at it so viewers can go away.
You're going to put that in the... Is this New York Post House? Oh,
yeah.
God. Right, all right.
The New York Post has been quite clickbaity, though, which did annoy me because they've done it again where they stir up the thing.
Still loaded.
And now they're going to use the opportunity to knock it back down into sensible territory, I suspect.
Step 1, look up at the sky. Step 2, remove all critical thinking.
Let's just click it and see if it plays.
Yeah, but Gary's on.
Yeah,
Dial-up.
it doesn't add at the start, I think, unfortunately, and then goes into it.
What about ordinary drones?
That's an
Is there any good for
aeroplane. That's
mysterious
an
ones?
aeroplane. That's an aeroplane. Mysterious
about
ones, yeah, exactly.
Reaction videos are all the rage now, so we can do a live reaction video going, ooh, interesting.
I think it.
Well, what we have to watch Blue Rental first.
So Blue Rental. Do we recommend?
Oh, there we are.
Every day of these so-called.
Oh, so
well, he looks like an expert.
Over New Jersey.
That'll be an airplane. That's a helicopter.
And people are understanding.
That's a drone. That's a drone.
Don't fret. I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to track down and identify some of these drones. And I'm going to reveal the identity of some of the drones currently being shown on the news. With any digital video, you'll need at least 3 things, but ideally 4.
Brandy, whiskey,
date,
a potato,
time, location.
camera.
And the 4th thing is which direction the camera was facing. If you're analyzing your own footage and you used a smartphone, all smartphones capture this information in something called metadata. Here's how you access it on iPhone. And here's how you access it on Android. It gives you a specific date and time of your image. If you're analyzing someone else's footage, you'll need to get the original raw video file. Or you'll need to ask that person for the information as best as they can remember. Okay, let's use this method to identify a drone. This is reported to be a mysterious drone flying over New Jersey on the night of December 1st. Many mainstream news reports about these drones have featured this image. Here is the raw video. You can hear the witness describing a drone and its triangle of lights.
This is a video of the Morris County drones with characteristic triangle lights on the back or underneath.
The metadata was not immediately available for this clip, but luckily, witness who shot the video provided the basic information. First, the date, December 1st. Second, the time.
He's a
the
network
witness
engineer.
estimates 5:45 p.m. Eastern.
Worrying, isn't it?
Third, the location, Mentham, New Jersey. Now that I had that information, I went on to ADSB Exchange, a website which has current and historical public flight data. Since I didn't have the precise location from the metadata, I searched for the closest airport, UWR for Newark. I then moved to the
It's Mendham. Not meant no T in that. That's more of a mystery.
Oh, you've reached your data cap now.
time the witness took the video. Time on this website is in UTC time. Here's a chart on how to convert.
Yeah, some
American
people have been
time
getting the
zone
actual
to
time wrong
UTC time
when they've been
using
trying
the
to say
24-hour
there wasn't a
clock.
plane then.
And please
When
note
it's
that
pointed
the
out, the
UTC
UTC, they go,
might be
oops.
the next day. So, for example, here, 9 p.m. Eastern or 2100 hours plus 5 hours equals 0200 UTC the following day. For this video, the estimated time was 5:45 p.m. Eastern, so 22:45 UTC. I punched in the available information from the witness, and boom, I saw this plane flying over
That's not
Mentham,
cool.
New Jersey, 5:36 to 5:40 p.m., which is around the same time the witness says they
But he said
took
it was a
this
drone.
video. This plane is a PC-12, flight HRF 151, flying
Burn the
from
witch.
Richmond, Virginia.
What's interesting with this as well is seeing a lot of these small aircraft, you
extra
wouldn't imagine
information
just
over
how
here
much
tells
lights
you
they
where the
have.
plane is
But
from
some of them
and
are absolutely
operates.
stacked up with one.
I
There
then
was
tracked
one that was
down
out,
the pilot who
this
was
video of it
flying that
actually at
plane.
night, so it was
That
captured in a really decent camera and
name
whatnot.
is
The first comment
Marcel,
is,
and
wow,
this
that is
is
just
the
like at
actual
Close
PC
Encounters,
plane.
which was
I
so
sent
funny because
Mr. Bell
you know,
this video
it did look
of
like
this supposed drone.
you know, some sort
After
of UFO
confirming
with
his
all
own
these
flight
banks
data,
of
he
lights.
replied, "Yep, that's definitely me."
Oh yeah, this is the
then
actual
asked him
pilot,
how
and
it
he even
felt
says, "Yeah,
to
that's
see
me
him
in my
and
plane."
his plane
So
on
credit
so
to him,
many
credit
news
to him. He did take it
stations,
to this one.
which were referring to him as a mysterious drone. He replied, "I have been told that I tend to drone on and on, but I've never been called one. At least they got my best side." So the mystery about this viral drone has been solved. Now, if you see this image on the news, you'll know it's just pilot Mike
I
Bell
bet that journalist
flying his
confronted by that
DC-12
pilot would
to
just
Dearborn
ignore it
Airport.
and not hold their hands up and say, "Oh, sorry."
Okay, for the next example, I was sent 2 different
I'm going to say you don't
sets
need to go
of
through all the
video
examples
from
on
the
these, but
same
people can see this
witness
now.
in
Look,
the
but
same
yeah,
location.
credit to the guy. He's showing the
I'll put the link in the. Yeah.
I think the unfortunate thing is up until the New York Post knew themselves from having like this guy as one of their contributors that these were aircraft. So it's just a shame they themselves have milked the narrative while it's getting them clicks. So then at the end go, "Oh, by the way, we've been stringing you along."
That's well, let's hope it sorts itself out and let's go to bed now. Well, not all of us. No, that's not what I meant. Actually, I tell you what I have got to flipping well do. Bloody puppy today gnawed through a pipe in the bottom of a tank outside. It's 0025 here now, and put a hole in it. So I bunged a cork in there and wrapped it all up to just for a bodge fix. And we went out to some friends this afternoon. And I said, bet the dog will have chewed it off. Got home, completely empty water tank. So it's currently refilling itself. So we're going to go and make sure it's still doing that and switch the pump off. And I'm a bit worried about going out just in case the aliens do come and abduct me, because plainly there's lots of them about at the minute. So
it is a worry. It's
a worry. It's definitely a worry. But dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, please look after yourselves. Hopefully we don't talk about this again next week, but we will. We'll see you again on Christmas Eve, I think, isn't it, next week? The Christmas Eve. Oh, it'll be Christmas Day for Bruce.
Christmas Day. Are we going on Christmas Day?
Well,
yeah,
it's Christmas Eve for the rest of us.
I'll probably have a food coma.
It's my birthday.
We actually celebrate Christmas Eve here, so I'm not going to be here.
Oh, there you go. All right then. Well, it might. Well, maybe. Well, we can decide now whether we'll do it or not. We can tell the dear viewer on Christmas Eve. Should we give the dear viewer Christmas Eve off?
I can show you all the socks I got.
I'll be around.
I think we should do it. But we should probably be having cake or something while we do it.
Fancy dress, gin and tonic and fancy dress. Yes, maybe. Well, please don't feel you have to join us next week, you dear, very loyal viewer. But we'll try again this time next week, and we'll see what happens. Look after yourselves.
I've got lots of viewers, Gary. This is unusual. What's going on? Did you bribe people?
Cash payments. This
drone thing's good for business, eh?
It's terrible. It's terrible. It is. It is. It's terrible. Look after yourselves, everyone. If you don't see you, have a wonderful Christmas, and maybe we'll see you next year. Cheers all. Take care for now. Bye bye. One click, two.